told your friend you're not okay? And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way.
Hey guys, welcome back to another van build video. Welcome back to STL Cars. If you've not been to the channel before, then my name is Sam and we are doing our Caddy Maxi camper conversion, and this is part whatever. But in this video we're essentially going to be looking at pre-wiring because we've now got our conduit. Might seem a little bit disjointed because the floor's not done, and the last video I think will probably have been in the floor getting completed. But we're kind of just doing this all back to front because we need to get the pre-wiring in before we do the floor, because you've got to route like that way, blah blah blah. It needs to be done. So we've got conduit, we've got cabling, we're going to do pre-wiring. Why is it important to pre-wire? Well, basically if you want your van build to have good electrics and all nice and hidden and routed correctly, you need to do it before you start laying all your cladding and everything like that. So we're going to pre-wire today. I'll go through my electrical kind of setup and what we're going with, what cabling we've got, and then obviously we'll just start pre-wiring and showing you how we're going to do it. So I'm going to go through my electrical setup with you now to show you exactly what we're going for, and then we'll get on to doing the pre-wiring. Here we go. This is my wiring sort of diagram, as messy as it is, that we're going for. So essentially what we've got, we've got the car battery here. This is going to go via a 16mm cable through a 40 amp fuse. That's going to go through a 60m cable to a DC charger. We're going to get the C-Tech one purely because that's got the ability to have solar as well, so in the future we're going to add solar, we can do that easily. Then we've got a positive going to the leisure battery with a 40 amp fuse, and then a 10mm cable, 10mm squared cable going from the leisure battery to a blade fuse box, a 30 amp fuse, and then from there all of our sort of various electrical things are going to go from there. So we'll have TV, which is there, the puck lights in the ceiling, USB plugs, fridge, water pump for a little sink, and the switch panel with more USBs. And essentially the way that you work this out, so watts equals volts times amps. Do a bit of rearranging of the equation, you can get amps equals watts divided by volts. So basically what we do is we work out the wattage of each of the things in the system, divide that by the volts, which is obviously a 12 volt, it's a 12 volt system, and that'll give us our amps, and then that'll give us our max amps. Then we times our max amps by I'm going with a 1.5, so times by 1.5, which is a bit of a safety factor, which will boost the maximum ampage, say, of the cable up, so obviously you don't end up burning through cable. And then that's how we get the sort of the values for the dimension of the cabling that we're going to use. So essentially for all of the lower powered stuff, we're going to be using, I think I actually went quite a bit higher, so we're going to be using 8 cable rated for 8 amps. For the lights, the USB plugs, and the switch and the water pump. And then for the fridge and the TV, just because they're slightly bigger items, even though they don't actually draw that many amps, we've gone with, I think, a 17, rated for 17 amps, just so it gives us a little bit more redundancy. And then we've got the 10mm cable going from the fuse box to the leisure battery. So first we are going to look at the lights. So we're going to start routing this. We need to make sure that we route them in parallel, which means positives go to positives and negatives to negatives, not sort of daisy chain them like positive and then the negative from this light will go to the positive to that, because what will happen is you'll get a voltage drop going across the lights. So the first light will be really bright, but then the last light will be a lot dimmer. So we need to make sure that we connect them in parallel, just so we've got the same voltage across all of the lights. Plus then if one of the lights goes, you're going to have the rest of them still working and be able to pinpoint exactly which one goes. Whereas if you wire them in series and one goes, the circuit will be broken, so you'll end up with no lights. So we're going to do the lights first, and yeah, we'll show you how we're going to do all of that wiring in a second. So to talk you through the setup then that we're going with, so we're going to have all the electrical battery and stuff down here behind under this floor panel. It's where the sort of footwell would be if you had the 5-seater Caddy. Obviously this doesn't, but it's got loads of space, so the battery and all the fuse box and everything's going to go down here. Then what we're going to do for routing the cables, the we're going to have the switch panel mounted here on the side of like a kitchen unit eventually. So that's going to go there. So what we need to do is we need to route cable from where the fuse box is going to be in here, under this step, and then up to here, and then leave a bit of slack, obviously. And then what we're going to do for the lights, rather than going up through this wall and like up to here, just to save like drilling through and stuff like that, we're going to route the cable back this way under the step, and then we're going to go up this side panel here, and then essentially just follow where this cable goes up through there, and then we can start wiring into the center for where all the lights are going to go. So that's how we're going to do the lights. And then we're going to have the water pump's going to be at the back where the sink is, so that's going to be pretty easy. So we'll run from the fuse box back through the insulation and stuff like that, and then just leave the wires out there. We're going to have obviously the switch box is going to be here. The TV is going to be mounted up here, so we will run some cables up through here. We'll drill a little hole through there, and then run the cables up, just tape them to it for now, and then just have them dangling out. So then that's done. And then over this side, we're going to have USB plugs over this side, just probably like somewhere around here. So again, we'll run the cables up through here and then just leave them hanging out. And then the fridge is going to be where I'm sat, but that's going to be pretty easy because it's literally just going to be running from here to here. So should be pretty straightforward. So first of all, we're going to start running the cable from the footwell into the actually no, we'll start with the lights. So we're going to start running the cable from the lights down here. Right, so I've got the first bit of cabling done, so I've put it all in the conduit. As you can see, we've got our red and black coming out there, and it's basically just this massive long loom here. And what we're going to do with this one first, so we're going to run it from here under the step, up here, and then up into the roof here, and that's where we'll start the lights. So I'm going to do that off camera just because it's easier, and then we'll come back. Okay, just so I can show you guys, we just pulled the step up now, and there's already a wiring loom that runs along here and then through a little hole there into the footwell, which is really good because it saves them to do any holes. So we should literally just be able to pass this loom straight up through here. First wire for the lights is in, so this wire will go from the switchboard. We'll have a dimmer switch on there, down under the step, going to be tucked up through that column, up through there, and then I'm actually not going to run it through here, purely because I'm actually going to be drilling the cladding straight into this, and what I don't want to do is potentially risk going into the wires. So I'm going to have it routed alongside there the best I can, and just tape it into place, because like I said, the last thing I want to do is obviously drill through the cabling. So we've got this coming out here now. There's plenty of slack on this, so then we've obviously got a little bit of play if we need to. And then what we're going to do with this now is we're going to use some of these little lever nut things, and this is going to allow us to connect our circuit in parallel. So what we'll do is we'll use one of these, and then we'll have the positive going into one with two positives coming out the either side, and that'll go to the two positives on the lights. And then we'll have one on the negative with two negatives coming out, and that'll go to the negatives on the lights, and so on, so forth. And then we can just sort of chain them along. So I'll get a little bit set up and then show you how that actually works. So a little update then on the lights. So we've run the first wire. So this wire here is going to be from the dimmer switch to the lights. So it runs down here, through here, under the step, up this trim, along here, and then we get to this first junction here where we've used the little lever nuts to then run it to here, to this join, which then obviously all the reds go to the red, all the blacks go to the black, connected in parallel. And then essentially we've got a red and a black coming off here, and a red and a black coming off there. That's to the first two lights, and then from here continues to here. Same again, of it coming off here, red and blacks, red and black that side, red and black that side, and then finally it runs off down to the back. And then here we've just got, because obviously there's no more in the chain, we've just got the end here, which red and black come off there for the last two. So that is how we've sort of done the lights in parallel. I'm going to run the rest of the wires that we're running for the system now, for all the other sockets and stuff, and then I'll come back to you once we've done that. Right guys, a little bit of an update as to where we're at with the pre-wiring as you can see, I've got some wires in, it's dangling, hit me on the head. And just for continuity, I've now had a haircut, so this part of the video has been filmed like the next day to the first part, just because this thing takes time, and I've needed to go to the shop about 1,000,000 times to buy more wiring because I massively underestimated how much I need. But essentially, I've got a bit of a spaghetti junction going on. I think I'm doing it right. Please do not copy this as like a how-to video, because I'm doing this for the first time myself and I'm learning as we go along, guys. So yeah, I'm going to spin the camera around and we'll show you the absolute spaghetti mash that we've got going on. Right, let's show you. So here we are, a hell of a lot of wires going in place. I've managed to route them all through like pre-existing conduit and loom, and then it goes down through there and comes out into the footwell there. So essentially the wiring setup that we've got then, so over here, shout out to Monster, Lewis Hamilton, very, very nice. Over here we've got a positive and negative, that's going to go to the 12-volt socket for the water pump, for the little sink that we're going to have in. And then up here we've got a 12-volt socket, which is going to be for where I'm going to put a little TV up there, so that's going to go there. And then here, so these two wires here are going to be from the socket up at the top to the switch, and then this is going to be to the water pump, and then these ones are going to be to the lights. These are going to be on a different switch because I want them on a dimmer, so that's going to be on the dimmer, and that runs from here all the way back down here, up here, and then up into here for the lights, which then splits off into the sort of 3 banks of lights that we've got. And then all of these wires, so I'm going to be having a switch panel mounted sort of just here on a cabinet, and then the fuse box is down there, and I confused myself a little bit with this, but I think I've got it right now. So essentially I'm going to run lives from the fuse box down there under here to the switches, and then the switches are going to have a live going from the switch to the appliance, and then there's going to be a negative from the switch, which is going to be like a group negative, back down to the switchboard. I think that's right. I've ordered the switch panel and the fuse box just so I can kind of wire it in, and then I think I know where I'm at before I kind of like seal everything up. So that's where we're at. I'm going to now work on getting all this wire into conduit. It's going to pass up through this hole here and then come out essentially somewhere in here to go to the switch panel, which is going to be here. So I'm going to do that and then we'll come back. So guys, just a little progress update. I've now got that loom all running through the wall of the van, running under the step. It looks so much better now, so much neater, less like an absolute jumbled mess. So I'll show you what we've done. So as you can see, we have now got this loom that runs up through here. I've just fold taped over the top of it to keep it in place. It runs through the wall of the van, up, out through this part. Nice loom. And then obviously we've got all the wires which will be plugged into the switchboard. But obviously all these will be getting cut down because don't need that much wire. It was just, I had it, so I thought I'd just run it, so then I'd make sure I've definitely got enough wire. But essentially all this will go into the switchboard, which is going to be mounted somewhere around about here. And then, yeah, that's pretty much the wiring all routed. Right guys, so last part of this video now. So the pre-wiring is done pretty much. Well, it's done for where I'm going to leave it with this video. So I'll just quickly again run through the whole wiring and show you exactly how we've done it. But yeah, the wiring is pretty much in, ready to be plugged into all the appliances and all that type of stuff once the rest of it's done. So go through it then. Also we've got the lights widening on the ceiling. We've got some wires coming out there for a 12-volt socket for a water pump, 12-volt socket there for TV, and all these come down to here. We've got all of this wiring here, which is going to be into the switchboard, which is going to go here. All this runs under the step here, down into the footwell. So all these wires are going to be going into the fuse box. And then from here, we have this wire, which runs under the floor, under the step, up there to there, which is going to be some USB sockets. And then we've got this cable here, which is an earth for the fridge, which is attached to this live here. I cannot stress the importance of planning out your electrical system before you start your van. I think that is like top tip number 1 from what I've learned. I kind of like started and then thought about it rather than getting a full plan in place and then starting. But I managed to work it out and figure it out. But yeah, have a good plan of where you want everything to go, how you're going to run your wires before you start doing it. It'll save you cost in wires for like, because I probably have done this a lot cheaper in terms of like not having as many wires, but it's my first time, so yeah, we've got what we've got. It's all wired in, it's all been calculated, like wire sizes for amps and all that sort of stuff, so we're going to be safe, fingers crossed. And yeah, it's all neat and tidy now, so I'm going to do a bit of tidying up because it is an absolute state with wires and stuff everywhere and tools. But while I'm cleaning up, I'll let you guys go and watch some of the other videos on the channel. Make sure you hit the like button on this video, hit the subscribe button with the bell icon as well if you don't want to miss out on any of the videos on the Caddy camper build. And until next time guys, we'll see you then.